I used your credit card to buy Amanda a house. Victoria, my mother-in-law, spoke calmly on the phone, her voice deliberate, full of a pride that felt sharp and final. My fingers gripped the edge of the table, the wood cold beneath my nails. I could hear the faint hum of traffic outside and the distant barking of a dog somewhere down the street. You heard me right, she said. 3 bedrooms, Riverside District. Amanda deserves a real home, a place that fits her name. Her voice carried a certainty I had been waiting for, and it made the room feel smaller, as if the walls themselves were listening. I paused for a moment, letting the words sink in, listening to the faint hiss of the heater and the creak of the wooden floor beneath my chair. Thank you for letting me know, I said evenly. Anything else? She laughed softly, sharp and casual. The bill will arrive soon enough, she said. Then have a nice day, I said, and hung up, feeling the weight of the silence settle around me like dust. I opened my banking app, the glow of the screen illuminating my face in the dim kitchen light. $42,500, a single line of numbers, cold, precise, undeniable. I should have felt rage, but what I felt instead was calm, a still pool after a storm. She had finally acted, and for the first time in years I felt I had the upper hand. I dialed Sarah, my lawyer, the phone clicking and buzzing in my hand. She used the monitored card, I asked. Yes, she said, her voice steady. Every transaction recorded, every movement documented. Shall we begin? Begin, I said, the word heavy, certain, like the closing of a door, and I could feel my pulse in my temples, counting each heartbeat in a strange, quiet rhythm. 6 months ago, I had already seen this coming. Victoria never hid her contempt for me. I was never enough, not the right name, not the right blood, not the right history. I had married her son, and that was the crime. Her daughter, Amanda, however, was untouchable, spoiled, delicate, adored. Every mistake excused, every failure turned into a story of love. I remember watching them laugh together at a birthday party, with cake smeared on their hands, and the room smelling of vanilla and candles, feeling myself disappear into the wallpaper. Once during a family dinner, Victoria waited until I left the table. Then she slipped into my chair, the glow of the laptop lighting her face in a way that made her look like someone caught in a secret. I turned back and saw her hand hovering over my bank page. She smiled and said she was checking the weather, but the way her eyes flicked to the numbers told me everything I needed to know. That night, I called Sarah, and we set a trap, a separate account, monitored card, every transaction flagged, and recorded. Every move she made would be seen. And now she had. That evening, Michael came home late, carrying his briefcase loosely in one hand and a bag of takeout in the other. Mom told me she helped Amanda buy a house, he said. She looked so happy. Did you know? I set down the pot in the kitchen, steam curling around my arms. I know, I said. She means well, he said. Amanda really needs a place. She stole my credit card, I said. Michael frowned. She said it was temporary. She'll pay you back soon. I looked at him the way one looks at a fragile vase about to break. Michael. She spent $425,000, not 425. The doorbell rang, cutting through the heavy silence of the apartment. He opened it, and 2 officers stood there, their faces flat as paper, their shoes squeaking slightly on the tile floor. Mrs. Martinez, one said, we received a report of credit card fraud. I handed over the folder I had prepared months ago, bank statements, screenshots, messages, notes of her previous attempts to access my account, and the smell of printer ink and paper filled the air. Victoria stormed through the door, her face red, her breath sharp, her heels clicking on the floor. How dare you call the police? She shouted. I was helping family. Helping is not stealing. I said I did it for Amanda. She cried. Then you should have used your own money. Her finger pointed at me, trembling. You have destroyed this family, she said. The officers stepped closer, calm, professional, as they let her out. Her eyes burned into me, full of disbelief and rage. I felt no fear, only relief and a strange emptiness, as if a weight had been lifted off my chest. Amanda arrived later, crying, mascara streaked down her cheeks, her voice high-pitched and raw. You ruined everything, she screamed. It was not me, I said. Your mother did this to herself. You are jealous, she spat, because she loves me more. I did not answer. I walked back into the house, leaving her voice behind me, the sound of the door slamming echoing in the hallway. That night the house felt strange. Michael sat on the couch staring at the floor. "Why did you never tell me?" he whispered. "Would you have believed me?" I asked. He stayed silent long enough for the shadows to grow across the walls, then whispered, "I was blind now you see," I said softly. "That is enough." I could feel the tension in his shoulders slowly ease. The next day, I went to my office and saw the card had already frozen. The bank called me with verification requests and updates. Sarah had arranged for everything to be documented digitally for the police and court, and I felt a strange satisfaction seeing all the alerts lined up neatly on the screen. In the weeks that followed, Victoria called incessantly. I did not answer. She sent messages promising restitution, claiming it was a misunderstanding. I did not reply. She visited the house once, leaving flowers at the doorstep, which I did not touch. Even her apologies were an attempt to assert control, and I felt the old irritation creep up my spine and vanish again as I reminded myself I was free. Then came the day the police returned to take her statement. She was smaller than I remembered, her hair messy, her hands trembling. I watched from the hallway as they escorted her to the car. I felt no triumph, only a calm satisfaction. Finally, the person who had spent 5 years undermining my life was accountable. 3 months later, the courtroom, her eyes wide, her voice trembling, she admitted every charge. The prosecutor read each piece of evidence, every message, every bank alert. 2 years house arrest, 5 years probation, full repayment of the stolen funds. The judge pronounced the sentence slowly and deliberately. Michael held my hand outside the courtroom, sun sharp against our faces. "I owe you an apology," he said. "It is all right." I told him some truths. "Demand a price." Weeks later, a letter arrived, shaky handwriting across the page. It was hers. "I know I was wrong," it said. "I thought family tolerance meant I could do anything. I thought love would erase the cost of my actions. Now I understand control is not love. I do not ask for forgiveness. I just want you to know I finally understand." Michael read the letter quietly. "Do you think she means it?" he asked. "Maybe," I said. "Time will decide." Amanda found a job later, a small, real one. She rented a modest apartment far from the river. She called less frequently. She was learning to stand on her own. She came over once bringing coffee for Michael and me, her face sober, as she said thank you. Sometimes at night, I hear the faint echo of a phone ring. Her words, "I bought Amanda a house," the final sentence of her arrogance, the first breath of my freedom. I realize justice is not loud. It does not live in anger. It lives in the quiet clarity that comes when truth no longer hides. And in that clarity, I understood some prices are not punishment. They are the beginning of redemption. I walked past my desk that evening, looked at the city lights, and thought of how long it had taken to reach this calm. It was a reminder that life does not reward fear or indulgence. It rewards clarity and courage, and sometimes waiting quietly until the moment arrives. And now I knew I would never again let anyone take that from me.